It is 105 degrees tonight in Las Vegas, and we could expect the heat to carry over into the play tonight between Las Vegas Lights and the Pittsburgh Riverhounds as East meets West in the USL Championship. Brought to you by 872 Laborers Union. Alongside the Manchester United great Gary Bailey, I'm Joe Malfa. Gary, again, it's East versus West. We got to look at both sets of standings. Let's begin in the West right now because a win for Las Vegas, and they would join a group of teams on 21 points.
Yeah, that's how tight it is, and they'll only be a point behind 22 points, which is fourth place Monterey Bay. But the problem for Las Vegas, they haven't had enough wins. Today is absolutely crucial that they get full 3 points.
And if it's going to happen, you have to imagine Corey Bennett is involved in some capacity.
Yeah, 4 goals in the last 4 matches. In fact, the last 2, he's both won the penalty and taken it. Playing as a normal number 9. They've been playing with the false 9 most of the season, but I think they need a big man up front, and he is a perfect man for that number 9 position.
A look at the standings now on the Eastern Conference side, where Pittsburgh find themselves again in a similar position to Las Vegas, a win, and they're tied with a couple of other teams at the playoff line.
Yeah, Pittsburgh very similar to Las Vegas, in which that win would take them up, put them level with Rhode Island, North Carolina, so they're not that far off it. And the Eastern champions from last season have not had a good season. So if things start to go well for them, you would expect under Bob Lilly that he will get them into a playoff position.
Goals have been hard to come by for Pittsburgh this year, but Edward Kiss has typically been involved when they've happened.
Yeah, 3 goals, 1 assist. It's tough to follow the likes of Albert Duco from last season, but he's got to find a way. He is their key man up front. He's their main striker. 3 goals, not enough, but he needs good service as well if he's going to get Pittsburgh Riverhounds back into a playoff position.
And tonight's an interesting matchup of weakness on weakness here. Las Vegas, 28 goals allowed. I'll avert your eyes there, bottom left. Pittsburgh, a little bit further in the upper right, only 11 goals scored. Weakness on weakness, what gives on a night like this?
Well, if you look at shots on target, they're not much different. Only 10 shots difference on target, but there's 10 extra goals for Las Vegas Lights. So again, as you mentioned with Kiza, they need to score more goals. In terms of those conceded, well, it's a lot of goals conceded by Vegas. Pittsburgh better in defense, but the stats aren't good, and that's why both these teams are outside currently of the playoff position.
That's so important to cash in when the opportunities are there tonight at Cashman Field. It is Las Vegas Lights against the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. It's East meets West. It's 2 teams with a chance to creep toward the playoff line with a victory, and it's all coming up next on ESPN+.
Hey, bud. This doing nothing all day isn't good.
You should be out making friends.
Lots of friends.
Why? Huh? Because I'm not enough? By myself? Because you would love me more if I was always bringing over new money friends?
Yes.
It's called earning dividends, dear.
Get your money working with amazing certificate rates now at AmericaFirst.com.
Desert Radiology is the area's chief resource for the highest quality medical imaging and diagnostic care. We're proud to offer 11 conveniently located imaging centers across the valley. As a member of the community for over 50 years, Desert Radiology is proud to be the official imaging partner of the Las Vegas Lights. To learn more, visit desertrad.com. That's desertrad.com. Let's go Lights!
Mi raza bonita, desde 1991 hemos compartido nuestras tradiciones mexicanas. Desde muy temprano, nuestros panaderos empiezan a elaborar los bolillos y el pan dulce. Y las tortillas todos los días salen calientitas. Le digo algo, mi raza bonita, lo que está hecho en La Bonita, está hecho en Las Vegas.
Tonight's match is brought to you by Laborers Union 872, Great Clips, and America First Credit Union. Let's meet tonight's starting lineups brought to you by Laborers Union 872, and Las Vegas, again, is going to rely heavily on Corey Bennett up top.
Yeah, 3 changes from the team that drew 1-1 with Memphis last time out. A change in goals. Raiko Rosarina in for Nick Amateur. Had a couple of unusually poor matches by his good standards. Christian Pinzone comes in, Solo Asante drops to the bench, and as you mentioned, probably most importantly, Corey Bennett as the number 9 up front, and Edison Azcona will drop to the bench.
On the opposite side for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, we think this is what it'll look like. Now, we know that Bob Lilly is a madman, and this could move all over the place as the game goes along, but this is how we think it starts out.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a bit of a guess there, but 3 changes also from the team that drew 0-0 at North Carolina. In comes Luke Biasi, King Kenny, Conrado Forbes, and Enoch Mushagalusa. And then out Pat Hogan, Walty, and Keziah Sterling in what looks like a 4-5-1.
Probably notorious in that regard. Sometimes it's a 4-5-1, then it's a 3-6-1, then it's a 4-3-3. And this group, year after year, just responds to whatever tinkering he decides to do. And clearly it works because he's not a man who's ever missed the playoffs in USL Championship. And he doesn't want it to be this year, the first year that happens. A win tonight, and they would move into a tie at the playoff line on 18 points with the teams ahead of them right now in Rhode Island and North Carolina. Remember, it is 105 degrees at the moment in Las Vegas, so you're going to see cooling breaks. You're going to see some players with maybe some tired legs. We just saw after the teams had the coin toss conducted after the national anthem, they all went over for one last bit of hydration with the trainers before they take the field. So that is something to keep in mind, although it's that time of year where it's something you're used to at this point in Las Vegas, so maybe that favors one side over the other. They're used to it on the light side, not quite so on the Riverhounds side.
Yeah, that's a good point. The weather you're used to. Then, of course, Pittsburgh, you have to travel quite a fair old distance to get across to Las Vegas, so there's the time difference, there's the travel weariness, so it does favor the home side, which is why it's been frustrating for Las Vegas Lights. They've drawn a couple of home games, 1-1 against Memphis, 3-3 against Colorado Springs, games that really they should have got 3 points from.
Look again at the standings brought to you by La Bonita Supermarkets. You see Vegas there in 9th. Tiebreaker-wise, they can't get above the playoff line tonight. They can only join that grouping of 3 teams then on 21. Second time in the Pittsburgh Riverhounds club history that they've traveled out west to play Vegas. Last time was 2 years ago, and it was a win at home for Vegas when these teams met last year in Pittsburgh. A big win for the Riverhounds. What do they have in store for their 3rd meeting all time? 3 years in a row. J.C. Griggs, the referee in charge, glancing at the watch. It's Pittsburgh left to right in the yellow, Vegas right to left in the gray, and we're underway at Cashman Field. Happy to have you along for this one. Alongside Manchester United great Gary Bailey, I'm Joe Malfa. Picked up in some space here by Pittsburgh. And dug out by J.C. Ngando. Enoch Mushagalusa was the one barreling through. Remember, Mushagalusa just joined on June 18th on loan from Hartford, trying to provide a spark to what has been a struggling Pittsburgh attack. This one slipped through. Mertz, Blackstock, well defended by Gennaro Nigro.
This is an interesting Las Vegas side. Only lost 1 of their last 8, which would seem to suggest they're in good form, but they've only won 1 of those, which was against Miami FC, and to be fair, they're struggling at the foot of the table in the East. So it's way too many draws, especially at home. And as we were saying, you know, for teams that visit, the heat, the jet lag, whatever it is, it should favor Las Vegas Lights. And they've been so close, conceded way too many goals, and easy goals as well. If you look at the last match, a couple from the halfway line, 1 in each of the last 2 matches from just by the halfway line. So errors in defense have cost Las Vegas big time.
It's that age-old question about how you value a draw, and this one's certainly going to be a free kick and a great spot for Pittsburgh. Just caught out and beat was Dre Fortune, another one who's just recently come into the side for Las Vegas on June 14th. Go quickly, Pittsburgh, and it's out for a goal kick. For an offense that's been struggling, Gary, why not set that up? Why not go for a service or for a strike on goal from that territory? Why try to waste it and go quickly?
And maybe it's a lack of confidence, something Bob Lilly spoke about. He said, we're not scoring goals. We know that's a problem. He can't put a finger on it, but he said maybe it's a lack of confidence. 1 or 2 goals haven't gone in. We were chatting beforehand. If you do what expected points, which is very similar to the expected goals type of thinking, it's how many points you should have from the efforts you've had on goals. Pittsburgh are minus 10 points. They should be 10 points better off. And Bob Lilly's saying this is so many games we should have got something from. Even the Hartford match, they lost 2-0. They hit the post twice. He said it's hopefully going to turn around sometime soon.
And on that Vegas side again, it's the question of valuing draws. You mentioned how many draws it's been for them as late. If I would have told you that this team has only lost 1 match in the last 8, you'd say that's pretty good. But on the flip side, they've also only won 1 match in the last 8. It's a similar issue to what we've seen in the Eastern Conference with Rhode Island, who at one point had a win, 2 losses, and 9 draws. And now for Vegas, again, it's a similar equation where can you start stacking together a couple of wins in the way that out east Rhode Island has back-to-back wins. Now they're in the playoff picture. Vegas, can you string together a couple of wins to validate the good performances from those draws? Because performances have been there even though the results haven't.
And I think to be fair to Las Vegas Lights, Dennis Sanchez saying to us, you know, this is a team that was built literally from scratch. Early February, they didn't have anyone, and they got a sporting director, of course, new owner Jose Bautista, the famous baseball player, setting this club up. And then they got the coach, and then they started getting players. So he says we're still getting to understand each other, and we're getting better all the time. He feels they're on the verge of a run. And of course, he would love it to be today, get 3 points and be right up there. And I guess the flip side is that Pittsburgh Riverhounds have also had a tough match because they've lost so many good players.
I'll take a look now at tonight's keys to the game, brought to you by Silver State Schools Credit Union.
Well, Las Vegas, you mentioned the errors. Bruno Lapa hitting one from inside his own half in the last match against Memphis. Jairo Enriquez for Colorado just inside the half. Bad sort of errors in defense that allowed easy goals. And for Pittsburgh, exploit the space behind their fullbacks. Both Smart and Nigro push up quite a lot in the Las Vegas system. Bob Lilly feeling that if his players can put ball into those areas, they might get some joy here tonight.
You mentioned the way this Vegas roster was constructed, and I go back and mention that parallel obviously to Rhode Island. It really is a stark parallel between these two sides and how they came together late, with Rhode Island being an expansion side and Vegas essentially an expansion side given all the turnover you mentioned. If you look up and down the roster, both are similarly built where it's MLS cast-offs, quote-unquote, players who were on peripheries of rosters, who couldn't latch on, who now find a home in USL Championship. Either that or recent college graduates or guys who have turned pro. Littered with talent, both rosters, just needing to come together to get out over that hump, turning those draws into wins. And again, Rhode Island has a similar parallel here in the West. Can Vegas do the same? And it's a good opportunity here tonight against a struggling side in the East, but a struggling side that can again be misleading. It was Dennis Sanchez who pointed out what you mentioned before, that Pittsburgh are minus 10 in expected points versus actual points. So they're not going to fall asleep at the wheel tonight, Las Vegas. And here's the injury report tonight as well. A couple of guys on the side for Vegas. Hogan on the list there for Pittsburgh, brought to you by Desert Radiology. Pinzone. Simply a throw here for Pittsburgh.
We were just going through Las Vegas and how tough it's been for them, but also want to mention for Pittsburgh Riverhounds how many good players they lost at the end of last season. Albert Dikwa, of course, the Golden Boot winner, was a massive loss to Rhode Island. Ordonez, another good player. Jamali Waite, Shawunmi, those are all up the spine, the most important positions, you know, centre-backs, goalkeepers, centre-forwards, goal scorers. So Bob Lilly, once again, as he has on so many occasions, having to go and find new players generally from lower divisions. I don't think their budget is quite the same as some of the other clubs, Pittsburgh Riverhounds, and it takes time to rebuild a team, but you've got to fancy, as you said, Bob Lilly never missed the playoffs.
Never once.
I tell you what, I wouldn't bet against him this time around. I think he'll find a way to get this team into the playoff position.
We've often said it in jest over the years that Bob Lilly is the guy who can take a Golden Glove winner and turn him into a Golden Boot winner and vice versa. Now, I don't know if it would be the same if you were the Golden Glove winner. I wouldn't fancy you up top the line.
Neither would I.
He can sprinkle magic on anybody, anytime, and find a way. But it's a corner that Pittsburgh has to defend now. Taken quickly. Fed out to Ngando. Looking back post. It's flicked away. And they'll do it again now from the opposite side.
I think the issue here is for Las Vegas, they can score goals, no question. Can they keep a clean sheet? They've really battled to do that this season. If they can keep clean sheets, they can keep it tight at the back, this team will shoot up the table because they have so much talent going forward.
Won't go short on this one. Zone floats it. Header back across, frame loose in front. The offside flag did come up. Dangerous moment though, inside of 10 minutes for Las Vegas.
Looks like Coleman Gannon's down on the floor. Ball comes in, the header initially, one there, and then Gannon heads it just wide. He was given offside. I think the goalkeeper collected him afterwards. That's a fantastic header. Malik Howell with the header, and Coleman Gannon heads it just wide and then gets hit.
Some other matches going on right now around USL Championship to be aware of. Colorado Springs up 1-0 on Monterey Bay. That's with 7 minutes remaining. With 10 minutes remaining, San Antonio at home down 3-2 against New Mexico, in danger of losing a 5th consecutive match, unheard of in previous years for San Antonio. And nearing halftime, the Oakland Roots are up 1-0 on the road on Orange County. Still to come later on. Kicking off in about 20 minutes, Sacramento hosting Hartford Athletic. Rounds out an 8-match day rather, in USL Championship. An 8-day match would be quite the spectacle. Pinzone. In Blackstock operating as the right back tonight for Pittsburgh, making his 11th start of the season. It's grown to be one of Bob Lilly's more reliable pieces, especially in the way he likes those outside backs to get forward, be it Etu on the left side or Blackstock on the right side, and whether it's out of a 4 or a 5, those are the guys he always calls upon.
Yeah, very, very solid players. Played last season as well, so you can rely on them. Important though that we talk about Conrado Forbes starting. He hasn't had many starts. He's normally come on as a sub, and let's put it this way, he's over the 30-year mark by a substantial amount. So, but good to see him playing, because when he plays, I just think his ability, assuming he's fit enough to play, is just phenomenal. And they have missed him. They've missed his skills, his passing skills on a regular basis. And of course, you mentioned all the other players, including Ibarra. There's another player they lost from midfield who went to Rhode Island. So they need King Kenny more than ever to Pittsburgh Riverhounds.
Rolled back toward Nigro, cut off by Blackstock. As far as Ngando, he's really proven himself this year in the midfield. One of the better central midfielders in USL Championship. Coleman Gannon rolls it back. Ngando. It's almost been that Aaron Malloy type of addition and presence in the midfield for Vegas. Obviously, Malloy has been all-league first team for Charleston and Memphis in years past. Turn the corner here, it's Etu. Some options there located centrally. It's cut back toward Mushagalusa. And Vegas defends it well.
Good attack there by Pittsburgh Riverhounds, just to prove the point. They are still a very formidable side in creating the opportunities. They haven't been able to finish them off. And that was really good, and Etu was in a good position to get it. So too was Robbie Mertz, just sitting a little bit deeper in the box. So again, a little warning to Las Vegas Lights to be careful of these counter-attacks.
Flag will stay down this time. But the service certainly lacked from Valentin Noel. Noel has been quite the addition. Praise I'm heaping on JC Ngando. Noel in that midfield has 7 goals and 2 assists this year.
Yeah, I think of all the players, if you had to pick one who's been the real bright light for Las Vegas, it would probably be him. Such a wonderful touch player. And they've played him deep as a number 6 at times. They've played him in attack, which they're doing more now. He's very versatile and a very clever player at reading the game.
Free kick on the way for Vegas. Taken quickly. They settle back into their possession, which is nearly 70% as we approach the quarter-hour mark. Ngando. Sean Smart. Awkward touch from Sean Smart. National champion last year at Clemson. Sean Smart turning pro after 2 collegiate seasons.
He's a quick player, Sean Smart. If you give him a bit of space to run into, it'd be very, very difficult to stay with him.
Noel. Osumanu. Dangerous clearance given away. Bailed out by Sean Suber. That's one thing that Bob Lilly will not tolerate. It's mistakes out of the back like that. We've seen him hot on the sideline time and again. He doesn't mind, well, let me rephrase that. I was going to say he doesn't mind being beaten. He doesn't like to lose, period. But he doesn't like beating themselves more than anything else. In all the conversations through the years that we've had with Bob Lilly, cannot stand for beating yourselves. And it's nearly what happens there, and a dangerous challenge here. Cards coming out. It's yellow for Osumanu. For a moment there, I wasn't sure what color that card was going to be.
That's a bad tackle. It's a really bad tackle. It's super high, super late. Let's have a look at it again. You know, if there was VAR,
scissoring motion coming in.
It's a bad take. It's one of those that if the player receiving it has got his feet rooted to the ground, that can break something. So a yellow card, the least. And to be very careful there, Osumanu. You can't make those sort of tackles.
Center back with a yellow 14 minutes in any regard is a dangerous thought right now.
But you don't need to make it there. It's one, if it's the edge of the box and he's about to pull the trigger on a shot and it's the dying moments of the game at 0-0, maybe. This is the halfway line. He's tucked on the edge. I don't see the logic in lunging in. Just stand up, force the player back and, you know, back towards his own goal, and job done. We often talk about football IQ, and it's easy to say in the heat of the moment. We've all made bad tackles and bad errors, but football IQ is about that. It's trying not to do the least beneficial thing, or to rephrase it, to try to do the most beneficial thing. Don't get a yellow card. Stand up, force the player back. And to do that whilst you're under pressure in the heat of the moment is what football IQ is all about.
Gondo will drop so deep to receive and ignite the attacks for Vegas. Everything flows through him. Nigro, some pressure coming here from Pittsburgh to close him down. Nigro weaving through it. See 6 yellow jerseys around him. They have those defined press triggers, Pittsburgh, and when they attack, they can be dangerous. They swarm you. Nigro does well to avoid a mistake in that crisis moment.
It's a little bit more difficult for Las Vegas against Pittsburgh because they have on many occasions played with a false 9, so they can overload midfield.
Looking for Kizza was Mushagalusa. He's on it again. It's blocked by Malik Howell.
Just to go back to that point, now they're playing with a number 9, Corey Bennett, up front, but often they would play with the likes of a Valentin Noel as a false 9, or Solomon Asante, or others such as that, Pinzone. And so those players would drop back into midfield, they would overload midfield, and they would dominate possession. Now with a classic number 9, you can see the number 9 play coming in there, which causes problems at that end. What it does, it takes an extra player away from the midfield.
Jacob Randolph earning his 4th start for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, the rookie. Clean sheet to his name, 3 goals allowed, 70% save percentage. Hasn't typically been the starter this year. Again, only his 4th start of the year for Pittsburgh. Eric Dick on the bench has 10 starts this year.
I think Bob Lilly telling us when we chatted to him the other day that in fact he was the 3rd choice, Jacob Randolph, at the start of the season. So well done on him to work his way up to 1st choice so quickly.
He's always been particular about his goalkeepers, Bob Lilly. And whoever's played, he's managed to, again, just sprinkle some of that stardust onto the likes of Jamali Waite, who's now got onto El Paso, but he's starting in Copa America for Jamaica. You've got Danny Vitiello, who last year goalkeeper of the year in USL Championship, now gone on to Sacramento. It always feels like Bob Lilly's goalkeepers go on to tremendous success with the team and then beyond.
Not just the keepers, you make a good point, but what about Alex Dixon, who had a fantastic season when he moved to Monterey Bay? Russell Cicerone went to Sac Republic.
All the players you mentioned earlier, like Dikwa and Ibarra and Ordonez. This team lost the Defensive Player of the Year and the MVP.
And yet fans can be unforgiving. If Bob doesn't get them into the playoffs, they'll be giving him a hard time, even though he's had so much incredible success. I was looking at one of his stats about goals conceded over the course of his time at the club, and it's less than a goal a game that his teams have conceded over, what is it, 5-6 seasons. I mean, that is absolutely phenomenal in terms of numbers, and I can give you it's 0.93 goals per game, and that's over 220 matches, that's that.
It's quite the sample size and quite the statement. And now it's Mertz igniting the attack here. Can they supplement that defense with some attack? And it's a corner on the way for Pittsburgh. Just a reminder, the competition is heating up this summer on CBS. It's Sacramento Republic looking for revenge against the red-hot Oakland Roots on Sunday, July 21st. That's at 4 Eastern. Then on August 3rd, also at 4 Eastern, it is a surging Detroit City side hosting newcomer Rhode Island for the first time. Those two clubs meet. It's all in the USL Summer of Soccer continuing on CBS. Here's where Canaro Forbes can do some damage. All-time appearances leader after last week. Past Jan Ekra, got 278 at 279 and counting tonight. Also the assist leader with 65. Can he add a 66th here? It's curled in toward the back post. A lot of contact there as Kiza went down, but it's very rare you see that given on a corner. There's always going to be hand fighting.
Yeah, it has to be a lot clearer. It has to be a pull down or something that the referee has 100% sure of. If you're not sure, you can't give it. Although Corey Bennett got a penalty last match against Memphis, being brought down in the box. Akeem Ward on a cross seemed to grab him, but there were less bodies in the box. It was a lot clearer to the referee. From a corner, there's just so many bodies. It's very difficult to see what goes on.
A reminder, 20 minutes in here, it is 105 degrees in Las Vegas, so that will certainly impact the happenings and the energy levels as we go deeper and deeper into this one. Mushagalusa weaving his way through. Mushagalusa cutting in and cut off by Joe Hafferty. Good bit of defending.
He's got something to prove, Mushagalusa, hasn't he? He's moved around too many clubs. Went from Lou City to San Diego Loyal at the end of last season, and then to Hartford, and they didn't want to keep him, so he ends up at Pittsburgh. That's all in the last literally 12 months.
I'll do you one better. Even last year, don't forget, after the loan to San Diego said, no, we're good, we've seen enough of you, and sent him back to Louisville.
Right,
so
you're right.
You have that move in there as well.
So clearly he's got the talent, but he's not doing something right to impress the various coaches. And now he's got another chance, and I really hope he takes it, because he's got the talent, and it will be talent wasted. He's 24. He should be at the peak of his career now, or certainly heading into the peak.
I did a double take actually when I was preparing my final notes for this game, that he's still only 24 years of age, because he's been around in this league now for quite some time, going all the way back to the Sporting Kansas City 2 days in 2020 and 2021, where he burst onto the scene in that tandem with Wilson Harris on that young SKC2 side. From there, a lot of different pieces have ended up elsewhere in the league, and Mushagalusa still only 24. Blackstock back centrally. It's scuffed by Mertz.
That was a good chance for Mertz there. He had the opportunity to have at least hit target and totally fluffed his shot.
Nigro drew the foul, and look who again was involved in it. Forbes was the main aggressor, but Osumanu was also up there, and Osumanu on a yellow. So bear that in mind as we're at 21 minutes into this.
And that's the problem when you're on a yellow so early in a game. You can't afford anything, any tackle, anything that might get you another yellow. And that was Blackstock also putting his foot in there.
Yeah, Osumanu had the initial challenge before it made its way through to Nigro, or rather to Noel. Came flying through for that initial challenge. Just have to be very careful now. You never want to go down to 10 men, but you especially don't want to in 105-degree temperatures. Think of all the extra work you have to do.
You wouldn't be popular with your teammates, would you?
No. Be a Tim Weah situation. For those of you checking into Copa America.
Well, Luke Biasi got his second yellow against Lou City 2 matches ago. Put his team in exactly that position in the 76th minute. So, to your point, you've got to be very careful not to put your teammates under unnecessary pressure by going down to 10 men.
Hustle from Kiza. He's going to earn a corner, it looks like. Oh, no, after a quick conference, the referees say it was already over the line before it was played off of Hafferty. A goal kick, a break caught there by Vegas. It seemed like Kiza got there to cause the chaos. I already talked about this goalkeeper, Jacob Randolph. How about the goalkeeper who blasted it down his way, whose name we haven't had to call yet? Branko Rosarena, you mentioned coming back into the 11 for Las Vegas. Pittsburgh hasn't tested him yet.
I think he's a decent keeper, and he was being challenged by Nick Amateur, the Swiss, who I think, if I remember correctly, came in against LAFC in that match in which, although they lost 3-1, they put up a really good fight, Las Vegas, and impressed. And so was at that point was the cup goalkeeper, and then they kept him in. His performance away at London in the 1-1 draw was absolutely brilliant. And then he seemed to lose concentration against Colorado Springs, and definitely this Memphis goal was from inside his own half that the goal was scored. And I think that has probably persuaded Dennis Sanchez that Bruno Lapa's goal was just the final straw. He had to go back to Branko Rosarena and see what the Cuban international could do.
He's been the main goalkeeper now for Cuba for quite some time in CONCACAF Nations League and other friendlies. Handful of caps for Cuba. Brother of Tampa Bay Rays, Randy Arozarena. Would have been interesting at some point if you can get Jose Bautista and Randy Arozarena to have a home run derby here at Cashman Field. I'd sign up to watch that. Here's Nigro. Dangerous pass across the back. Hafferty has to deal with it. Sean Smart. Hafferty making his 9th start on that back line for Vegas, another unsung hero. MLS Next Pro best 11 last year for the eventual champions, Austin. Valentin Noel also was on that team. Was the cup-winning MVP. Mertz. Starting to see some more time on the ball now for Pittsburgh. Wide for Etu. Quick give and go. Kiza wants it. Dangerous challenge from in behind. Yellow card quickly shown. It's Corey Bennett tracking back, doing the defensive work. The striker for Vegas now in the book.
Well, it's good on Corey Bennett to get that deep and do some defensive work, although I don't know if you want him so far back. It's more of a midfielder's job there. You want him to be slightly further up so he can get the ball and hold it up for the rest of the team. But unlucky to get a yellow. Credit him at least for the effort of trying to defend.
Last time they had a free kick from around here was about 5 minutes in. They went quick and nothing materialized. Looks like a more straightforward approach this time as Robbie Mertz stands over it. Can they make it count? Neither side has yet registered a shot on target through 26 minutes. Mertz toward that back post, and another squandered opportunity. From that area, you either have to get a shot on target or you have to find a teammate, give him a chance at least. He does neither, splits the difference, and out for a goal kick.
You're 100% correct. At least make the goalkeeper work. You never know, maybe it bounces off his chest, maybe he misreads it, or even better, stick it in for one of your big center backs to get a header. But it's not good when you're in the 27th minute and neither keepers had to make a save. I understand working your way into the game, but by now you should have, at least one side, if not both sides, should have tested the opponent's goalkeeper.
Powell almost gave it away. It is a thrown out for Pittsburgh. Had a few issues like that so far tonight, Vegas, where they just haven't recognized that press from Pittsburgh standing up and have had an issue when it's happened. Because
interesting, against Memphis, they played with the false 9. Corey Bennett was on the bench. and they looked much better in midfield until Memphis overloaded the midfield, and then they brought Corey Bennett on, and he had a huge impact.
Opportunity here for Pittsburgh. It's closed down and blocked by Howell. Mushagalusa was the one eyeing goal. Now it's Griffin.
So just to finish that point, I just wonder if it might work the reverse here, that they bring on a Solomon Asante or someone and take off Corey Bennett in the second half and go with a false nine. It might just be that tactic that could work against Pittsburgh, but plenty of time to go yet before coaches need to make changes.
Sent long toward Coleman Gannon. That'll be a throw for Vegas down near the corner flag. San Antonio match did go final. They've lost 5 straight now. Wow. They fall 3-2 at home against New Mexico. And in that game, Gary, as if a 5th straight loss wasn't bad enough and it happened at home, New Mexico played down a man from the 40th minute. When they went down a man, they were losing 2-1. They scored twice after being down a man to win the game 3-2 on the road in San Antonio, who are now losers of 5 in a row.
That's just, I mean, given the San Antonio sides of the last few years, that's almost impossible. And yet here's Pittsburgh, the Eastern champions, struggling outside of the playoffs. So I guess what you did last year doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have another good year. A lot of that, I think, might be to do with the turnover in the USL. It's a lot more than you would get in Europe, for example. In Europe, you keep the core of your players, maybe bring in 1 or 2, sell 1 or 2. Some of the USL teams, they get a clear out of 8, 9, 10 players sometimes.
It is that double-edged sword, though, the way that San Antonio operates. That has been their MO. They churn over the roster year over year, and when you get it right, you win the title like you did in 2022. When you get it wrong, if that is the case, they have been hampered by injuries and whatnot this year. You're sitting where you are near the bottom of the table, so it's a risk they run. And again, they got it right in 2022, the calculus, won a championship. The year prior and year after, they were right there knocking on the door, so a really strong run where they got the roster combinations right, but just hasn't worked out this year.
Well, so far.
So far.
I guess,
long way to go.
Yeah,
You can never count any
know.
team out. You look at the Oakland Roots, who, again, 6 weeks ago were in 11th. Now they're up near 3rd place. It can turn on a dime in this league.
And long as you make the playoffs, as Phoenix showed last year, you can be the last team making the playoffs and still go on to be the champions.
And as Pittsburgh showed, losing to the 8th seed Detroit City last year.
Yep.
On the free kick toward Howell, the intended target. Ngando. Coleman Gannon, 21-year-old from Atlanta. And in behind, it's an awkward moment there for the goalkeeper, Jacob Randolph. Vegas wants a penalty.
Well, as long as he made the save, Randolph, then one assumes it isn't a penalty, but did he get the ball or not? That's the question. Let's have a look. They were unmarked in the box. I don't say we're stepping out, Pittsburgh, but gets through. No defender anywhere near him. Oh, I'm not so sure the keeper got the ball. Now, had the ball gone past Valentin Noel, that's the other question. But again, without VAR, the referee can only give what he sees in that split second. I don't think there was enough to give a penalty.
In any event, that'll send us into the hydration break here in the first half. A reminder that Select is the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select product specials and more. Select, the player's choice. Half an hour come and gone. Still scoreless between Vegas and Pittsburgh. It's interesting, Gary. This is a line of conversation we're used to having in Pittsburgh matches, scoreless at this juncture and perhaps later, just because of the way they are so meticulous defensively as they sit there now in 11th place, only above Miami, but a win can take them to that playoff line, tied with North Carolina and Rhode Island. But we're not used to having that conversation in Vegas matches. It is usually high-flying. They are among the league leaders in goals scored, among the league leaders, which you don't want to be, in goals allowed, obviously. So it's sort of, I don't know, unstoppable force, immovable object type of thing here. We've got a side that scores a lot and concedes a lot, and a side that doesn't score that much and doesn't concede a lot. And so far, it's looking like the Pittsburgh tradition winning out through 33 minutes.
Well, I'm sure Dennis Sanchez will be happy that Las Vegas have that clean sheet. I was just looking over their last few matches. The expected goals against was just one of the last 2 games. The expected goals against was just 1 goal. They conceded 4. They're conceding way too many goals, Las Vegas. So well, the fans celebrate. So to be 0 at this stage is you know, Dennis Sanchez is thinking good, because I know we can score. But you're right, Pittsburgh are just amazing. Even this season, we talked about over Bob Lilly's career being 0.93 goals against per game, but even this season it's only 1.06. Still very good defensively. It's just they haven't been able to score much. The fans all loving it there at Cashman Field, but they would love it more if the home side got themselves on the score sheet.
I think they will love it a lot more too when the sun goes further down. It's not going to cool off a ton, but it's going to cool off enough, as opposed to the 105 degrees it was at kickoff.
They don't seem to be feeling the heat that much.
They seem well hydrated,
There's
Gary.
Messi and Suarez. Is that the Inter Miami side?
Oh goodness, yeah, they seem well hydrated. I can't guarantee what liquids they've been consuming, but they seem well hydrated.
Well, there's a guy in front's wearing a hoodie, and you said it's 105 degrees. Seriously?
If you can't watch the match, you can turn on Sirius XM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. Plus, you can hear live matches from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more, all on Sirius XM FC 157 and the Sirius XM app. That felt like a lengthy hydration break. We're usually in the 2-minute mark for hydration breaks. That one came in at about 4, and I don't think anybody is complaining, given the circumstances.
They're going to lose a lot of fluids in the 90 minutes, so you're right, they have to replace them as best they can.
Long over the top, brought down by Bennett, who's there for support. Pinzon. Gando scooping it ahead, looking for Noel. Smart. Quick, incisive passing here, nearly bounds through. Colorado Springs did hold on for the 1-0 win over Monterey Bay. Oakland Roots and Orange County have begun their second half. Roots still ahead at 1-0 on the road against Orange County. And news that came out of Orange County this past week with Morten Carlson moving back on to Denmark, picking up a job there. Mutually agreed to part ways with the club. Did not want to hold him back from going to coach the club he played for in his native country. Valentin Noel keeps it in.
Well, there might even be a job for the national team after their defeat today against Germany. Let it be fair, they didn't play that bad, Denmark.
They were a millimeter away on VAR
weren't
of
they?
an offside decision from going up 1-0.
To be fair to Morten Carlson, he had a fantastic run from the moment he took over Orange County until recently, so maybe he just felt that it was time to move on as well.
And just a great opportunity that presented itself. Your home club he played for comes calling to be their head coach back in your native country. That is a difficult opportunity to pass up. Orange County was compensated by the club in agreeing to release Morten Carlson from his contract. So we've seen some coach movement now in the Western Conference. El Paso and Oakland changed their coaches a little while back now. Earlier today, Phoenix Rising parting ways with Danny Stone. Now Morten Carlson not fired again, just moving on for that job in Denmark. So 4 different coaches from the start of the season are not the present coaches in the Western Conference alone.
Well, out there from Jacob Randolph, very, very positive from the big goalkeeper, dominating his box. Yeah, it's not the sort of job that you have a long life expectancy with, or job expectancy, I should say. I think all the coaches know you've only got to hit a bad run of results and your job becomes questionable. I think Bob Lilly being an exception to that rule.
Very few exceptions to that rule. Conversation I had with Juan Guerra a couple of years ago sticks out. It was when he took the Oakland job, and it was midway through the year, and he joked that he was finally starting to get comfortable in Oakland, but they still had a few boxes left in the garage that they hadn't unpacked yet, and it proved to be an omen of what was to come. Here's Valentin Noel. Back to that in a moment. Back for Ngando. Noel all the way across for Smart. Cut back for Gannon. Coleman Gannon hesitated to the end line, floats it toward Bennett. The header is off target, and he might have been offside anyway. It'll just be a goal kick.
That's a nice little opportunity. Valentin Noel so clever with his feet. Just wonder if they had a better opportunity to have a shot, maybe coming here, touch and hit. Thought about it, Gannon, and then he goes wide, and the ball then goes back too much, so Corey Bennett's going away from goal. You can't generate power that way. Just felt that Coleman Gannon's first chance was probably his best chance.
Back to Juan Guerra. So he had a couple of boxes that still weren't packed, and that's when the move happened to Phoenix. He goes to Phoenix, he wins the championship, and then hope he didn't get too settled in Phoenix, because now he's an MLS assistant with Houston Dynamo. So you never know, and that's a guy who is highly regarded in this league and wins the championship and now moves up a level. So it's a position where you're hired to either move on or be fired, it often seems.
So basically, keep all your goods in boxes, don't take them out. Live out of the boxes.
Speed dial, have to have your loved ones and your realtor. Nigro slipping it through, finds Noel. Bennett calling for it. Noel finds Bennett on the turn, goes for goal, took a deflection, and it trickles in! Their first shot on target of the match proves to be Corey Bennett's 5th of the year, and Vegas has the lead at home.
That's 3 goals in 3 games for Corey Bennett. He's on a hot streak of form at the moment, but lovely crafted goal. Beautiful ball played in. Noel with a fantastic turn. Let's have a look at it here. That ball played first time to Noel. What a fantastic ball it was from Nigro. And then into Corey Bennett, who's allowed a little bit too much space to turn. Yes, there's an unlucky deflection. We get that from Pittsburgh. You're allowing the main striker to turn in the box. And question marks there. Luke Biasi, perhaps he should have got tighter. Perhaps it was somebody else in a centre-back position's job. Either way, you allow that man to turn and have a shot, you're in trouble.
There's a conversation going on. Let's pause for a second. On that replay, you did see coming across the face of goal, I believe it was Sean Smart. There's an argument from Pittsburgh that he impeded the vision of the goalkeeper, Jacob Randolph, and could be called offside as a result. You had J.C. Griggs, the center referee, over having a long conversation with his assistant referee. He hasn't given any signal here that would indicate that the goal has been wiped out. It looks like it stands.
Yeah, without VAR, there's not much you can do. If you don't see it in that moment, either you or the assistant ref, then the referee has no choice. Still discussions going on.
It looks like he's explaining here why it is going to stand as a goal. So it is Vegas 1, it is Pittsburgh nothing. It took a second to make sure that was ironed out, but it's the 5th of the year for Corey Bennett. 3rd assist for Valentin Noel. All brought to you by America First Credit Union. It almost looked, it's impossible to tell in the naked eye perhaps unless we slow it down to super slow-mo. It almost looked like it took 2 deflections. The first coming off Biasi and the second coming off of Griffin. It seemed like it took 2 deflections almost in there, and not much Randolph could do. Can they get it back now, Pittsburgh? They're gonna have a free kick.
So now the big question is, Las Vegas, can you keep a clean sheet? Can you do what you've struggled to do in so many games? Keep it tight at the back. As we said earlier, Las Vegas will score goals. If they can start keeping clean sheets, they will work their way into a playoff position very quickly.
And the history is not on Pittsburgh's side right now. In this year, in which they've struggled mightily to score goals, it makes a lot of sense that they are 0-7-1 when conceding first and 0-6-1 when trailing at the half. So those numbers don't paint a pretty picture for Pittsburgh. Concede first again here. They've only earned, in other words, they've only earned 1 point playing from behind this year. On the free kick, it's Mertz. And Vegas able to clear. That was officially the first shot on target for either team tonight, producing that goal.
It's even questionable whether it was on target because it's like a couple of deflections. But at least they're in there. Always look at teams who we say are lucky to get a penalty, lucky to get a deflection. You have to be in the opponent's box. So those who are on the front foot causing the problems are the ones who generally get the good luck.
There's a degree of creating your own luck by putting yourself in that position.
100%. That's the benefit of Corey Bennett as a number 9. Yes, he doesn't add that extra player in midfield. So maybe they don't win the midfield battle as easily as they do when they play with a false 9. But you get a natural striker who, as we said, 3rd goal in 3 matches. He makes the difference. He wins penalties. They've got to push him over. They've got to deal with his heading ability as well as his ability to turn and shoot.
To Kiza knocks it back. Forbes, Griffin. Forbes back for Griffin. Almost a miscommunication there between those two who played so many matches and minutes together. Final minute on these first 45.
I guess a positive from Las Vegas' point of view, which I'll get to in a moment.
Work to the end line by Pittsburgh. Bodies in front. It's a better ball back for Kiza. This very well might be 1-1.
I was about to make a similar point to say if Las Vegas want to keep a clean sheet, they're up against one of the poorest teams attacking-wise in the USL this season. So it's the perfect time to get a clean sheet. And put it a different way, if they can't against the struggling Pittsburgh attack, then there really are issues defensively for Las Vegas.
5 minutes tacked on at the end of this first half. Essentially all of those for the hydration break we had. Nobody was in a hurry to leave that hydration break. All will welcome the halftime break. "105 degrees at kickoff tonight in Las Vegas." Again, it's par for the course at this time of year in this part of the world. It's not like they're not used to it, but being used to it and enjoying it are two very different things.
By the way, aimless ball there from Pittsburgh, just knocked over the top in the hope of someone getting on the end of it. Rosarino, no rush to take it. He just wants to see his team through to a halftime break in the lead. But again, it's not Bob Lilly's style just to have balls booted over the top aimlessly. He wants a better build-up, and somehow they're struggling, as they have all season, Pittsburgh, just to find their way through defenses.
For those of you not familiar with the desert or Las Vegas, just because the sun goes down also doesn't mean that the temperature plummets. It just stays hot. It's going to be 90 degrees still at 1 a.m. local time. It's going to be at minimum 98 degrees through the rest of this game. It's not like some other places where sun goes down, temperature will drop by 10, 15 degrees. This is going to endure for the remainder of the match. At some point, I don't know if you could tell the difference between 98 and 105. At some point, it's just hot, Gary.
Yep, it is. And again, to the point, if you're Las Vegas, you won the lup against a struggling team on your home turf on a hot day that you're used to. This has to turn into 3 points for Las Vegas, or you start to wonder if they really have got it together enough. Because after this, I think they have a whole bunch of games on the road. So very important they get the 3 points here today.
You had asked that question directly of Dennis Sanchez, and he sort of danced around it. All games are the same. They've had some good road form, but you can read the tea leaves. It seemed from the way he put it that they knew the importance of this game because it would be difficult having 4 straight on the road.
Yeah, well, they've got Sac Republic away, El Paso away, Colorado Springs away, and New Mexico away.
So you've named 3 of the top teams in the Western Conference and then El Paso. But it's an El Paso team when they meet that'll be coming off a 2-week break, energized under Wilmer Cabrera. So that's one of those games that you could fall into that trap. Wilmer Cabrera has 2 weeks now to finally properly instill his system, his values with the club after they had at least a game a week and in some cases 2 matches per week since he took over. So finally a chance to catch a break, to get his hooks into the team. Off a 2-week break, they get Vegas. So not an easy game by any stretch, even though you look at it and say you're playing the last place team.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why a win here gets some sort of level with that last playoff spot. And there's something to really battle for when you get on the road then. But don't pick up those points. And now you likely, if you don't get wins on the road, and they're going to be very difficult to get, that you drop further and further behind. And then, of course, confidence starts to go as well. So again, the second half, vitally important for Las Vegas, as it is for Pittsburgh, to be fair.
And it's never a good sign when an opposing player is quickly waving the trainers on the field. You can see the concern right away from Sean Smart after his collision with Junior Etu.
Is there a clash of heads here? It's more that the arms in the face there of Junior Etu. I think Sean Smart could do. He got up high to win the ball, but his body, arms, hands, and whatever else collided with Etu's face. Great to see Las Vegas Lights have a good run, and those seats behind there fill up with more and more fans, because I'm sure it's a fun vibe being in Las Vegas, full stop. So why not make it the same with the crowd, as you would when you're at Highmark. Certainly a Pittsburgh Riverhounds at home are a wonderful side to watch with a great vibe in that stadium.
And we've been able to see just really tangible shifts in this Las Vegas outfit ever since the ownership change and Jose Bautista coming in. All these changed. It's a different just atmosphere around the club in every aspect, from the front office to on the field. And to your point, see it now in the stands. It's a worthy club to support. Now centered, can Pittsburgh get it back right before the break? This might be the last motion of this half, played all the way back to Jacob Randolph. Some space here for Griffin, plays it to the left for Etu, centered again.
We've had a few of those from that left-hand side, haven't they? Balls pulled back. I think it's the 3rd or 4th time now they've been unable to find one of their own players in the box. But you fancy if they keep doing it, eventually they will get that breakthrough. So they're going to be tighter on that right fullback position, Sean Smart and Joe Hafferty for Las Vegas.
And it's those moments where you see Pittsburgh's -10 disparity between expected points and actual points come to light, because that's going to show up as maybe that's something that should have been an expected goal or an opportunity or chance created, and it goes by the wayside because of delivery. They have to clean those up. The moments have been there, but they're down 1-0 and need to capitalize in half number 2.
Yep, which is down to skill often. I mean, at the end of the day, you've got players like Albert Dick who are able to turn those into goals. That's a big challenge second half for Pittsburgh and Bob Lilly, how to get those opportunities turned into goals.
These fans have had plenty to blow the horns about, plenty to sing about in this first half for the Las Vegas Lights, as they have a 1-0 lead on Corey Bennett's 5th goal of the season. These fans braved the heat, 105 degrees, and they've been rewarded so far with the performance by Las Vegas. Up 1-0 on the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Coming up on the halftime show presented by SNWA. Change your watering clock now to avoid costly water waste fines. Vegas 1, Pittsburgh 0.
As a Great Clip Salon stylist, I love giving customers the look they want. With Clip Notes, we save your haircut details, so it's one less thing for you to worry about. And when I see that confidence at the end of the cut, that's everything to me.
As a stylist, I know it can be hard to find time for a haircut. With the Great Clips app, you can put your name on the list from anywhere and head to the salon when it's time for your cut. A great haircut plus more time for what you love. That's Great Clips.
Hello, my name is Ramon Martin del Campo, City of Henderson police officer and former Las Vegas Lights team captain. My mother, Susie, desperately waited for a second chance after years of fighting kidney disease. Through a paired kidney exchange program, she was able to receive the gift of life through transplant. Currently, about 85% of Americans waiting need a kidney transplant. I am a living kidney donor. Nevadans are giving. Join us at wearenevadans.org.
At comprehensive cancer centers, the most advanced treatments and breakthrough research are helping our patients thrive. But some of our most powerful treatments are preventative. This begins together in our community through awareness, outreach, education, and support. From healthier living and self-checks to screening for early detection, we can now find and treat some cancers before they strike. We're doing this together, Southern Nevada, and teamwork saves lives.
Tonight's match is brought to you by Southern Nevada Water Authority, La Bonita, Silver State Schools Credit Union, and Comprehensive Cancer Centers. It's a 1-0 lead at the break for Las Vegas Lights over the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. There were some outstanding goals and saves in the past week in USL Championship and League One. Let's show you the best of the bunch.
Garnett lost out. Here's Ethan Horde for Northern Colorado. Rendon making the run in. Horde onto his right. Still Ethan Horde. Never laid the ball off, and that's why! Ethan Horde's tenacity rewarded with a thunderbolt. Northern Colorado get a second.
Do things like this.
Alvarez still with the ball at his feet. Alvarez takes a shot! Excellent save by Reichenberg.
Start off this first half. They've kind of simmered down a little bit. Trying to see if they get the keeper off the line, and that is long distance. Bruno Alaba with his 6th goal from another area code.
Trying to give Loudon their first lead of the night. He takes the shot. Rodriguez with a point-blank denial. In the 82nd minute, keeping Miami FC alive 2-2.
New flavors. The same traditions. Be the guest of honor. Add more flavor to your parties. El Jimador. Spiked Bebidas.
The best nights start with Jägermeister. Made with 56 botanicals. Always served ice cold.
Take a miracle to come back from this. Heartbreaking end to the season. But what's this?
For the moments when anticipation
Clock's counting down. 5 seconds. 3, 2.
becomes celebration. Jägermeister. Meister the moment.
What a moment!
Kieran Miller! 10,000 plus going crazy.
Gannon cutting back heel. Bennett, starter.
Here's space for Hanya. What about that? And the switchbacks jump out in front. Here's Pacheco bearing down on goal. Pacheco! Rings what a field tonight!
Desert Radiology is the area's chief resource for the highest quality medical imaging and diagnostic care. We're proud to offer 11 conveniently located imaging centers across the valley. As a member of the community for over 50 years, Desert Radiology is proud to be the official imaging partner of the Las Vegas Lights. To learn more, visit desertrad.com. That's desertrad.com. Let's go Lights!
Bet you he's checking the Saturday scores so far here in USL Championship, because it has been quite the day with 8 matches overall. Let's take a look at some of those scores ourselves now. The big one that started the day was Detroit City 4-0 over Miami. To be fair, one you should win knowing Miami's form this year, but for Detroit City in the middle of that Eastern Conference, every game so vitally important.
Yeah, it is. It's so tight there, and they're probably happy to see Birmingham Legion lose to Lose City, because Birmingham's right near where Detroit is, and Loudoun have also got right in the mix. What a good victory for them against Tampa Bay Rowdies.
Yeah, from start to finish, Loudoun in that one just took it to Tampa Bay. And again, we mentioned earlier, San Antonio now with 5 consecutive losses. They were up 2-1. They were up a man, and they somehow at home still lost that game 3-2. Also going on right now, Oakland with just under 20 minutes remaining, up 1-0 on Orange County as this summer of soccer continues here in USL Championship. Gary, you throw a dart, you're going to hit a great game. That's either on CBS or ESPN.
Yeah, absolutely. Pick any of them. If you're a Las Vegas fan, look at that one, 4th down or 5th down on the left-hand side away at Switchbacks. That's going to be a very difficult one. They drew 3-3 only a couple of games ago, and then Rhode Island underneath that at Detroit. Rhode Island suddenly hitting great form. They knocked Lose City 5-2, so that's a real surprise. Phoenix Rising, you say, new coach at home to El Paso, and so it goes on. There's just a ton of great games. For Pittsburgh fans, away at Sacramento Republic, that'll be a classic game.
Now, this is a busy week coming up on CBS Sports Network. That includes Las Vegas against Sacramento. That's Wednesday, July 3rd. Your pre-Independence Day festivities should include watching this game. If that's not in your plans, change your plans, because this should be a big one in the Western Conference.
That was Coleman Gannon a moment ago, sticking in the top corner. Here he is again, causing problems near post. What a lovely little backheel flick there from Corey Bennett. And these are just fantastic goals from both sides.
That should be a fantastic game between Sacramento and Vegas, an important one as well as we talk about the playoff race in the Western Conference. Here's the upcoming schedule beyond that Sacramento match. It's part of this 4-game road stretch you touched on. El Paso, Colorado Springs, and New Mexico. A difficult stretch to close out July for Vegas.
Certainly is, but if they can go into this stretch of 4 on the road with a win today, it'll give them a lot of confidence, and especially if it's a clean sheet, they can start to turn things around. If they fail to do that, they have a tough road stretch ahead.
Upcoming schedule brought to you by Advanced Imaging Solutions, one company, many solutions. And we are just about set to get things going in half number 2. It's a 1-0 lead for Vegas over Pittsburgh. Can they hold on? Can they pick up the 3 points? We will find out together over the next 45 minutes.
All right, team. I'm not angry. I want to know who broke this. I want to make sure this doesn't happen again in the future. We found this tangled up in the transfer rollers. Who did this?
AIS is a proud sponsor of the Las Vegas Lights Football Club.
As a Great Clips salon stylist, I love giving customers the look they want. With Clip Notes, we save your haircut details, so it's one less thing for you to worry about. And when I see that confidence at the end of the cut, that's everything to me.
As a stylist, I know it can be hard to find time for a haircut. With the Great Clips app, you can put your name on the list from anywhere and head to the salon when it's time for your cut. A great haircut plus more time for what you love. That's Great Clips.
Let's redo the basement.
Hello, home movie theater.
Spare bedroom.
Why not both? Use the US Bank mobile app to apply for a home improvement loan. It's easy.
Wonderful, Alex.
Hey, that's what US Bank is for. Anything else?
How about a loan for a bigger car? Our family is growing.
Oh.
Yeah, my brother's moving in with his 5 dogs.
Oh.
Hey-o!
And we're expecting.
Ah.
Expecting what?
Help for today, planning for tomorrow. US Bank. We'll get there together.
All right, team. I'm not angry. I want to know who broke this. I want to make sure this doesn't happen again in the future. We found this tangled up in the transfer rollers. Who did this?
AIS is a proud sponsor of the Las Vegas Lights Football Club.
1-0 lead for Vegas. Those kids are ready to watch a second half. They're hoping, at least those wearing the Lights colors, to see some more goals from the Lights, to see 3 points earned at home. Now let's take a look now at these great clips brought to you by Great Clips from the first half, where just the 1 goal was scored for Vegas. There are some opportunities, though, early on, especially off set pieces.
Yeah, there's a header coming back here, and Coleman Gannon just knocks it wide and then gets absolutely flattened, but I think he was offside. He was given offside, so no action taken against big Jacob Randolph, and goals there, but a little half chance for the home side. Wasn't really much, was there? This effort coming in at the far post, not really a threat. Poor set pieces from the visiting side. They really didn't test a Rose Arena at all.
If we're showing you that for a team, it means they probably did not have a great first half.
Yeah, it's a very poor sample of efforts on goals. Coleman Gannon had a chance, didn't, pulls it back, and then going away from goal, Corey Bennett couldn't get much direction on it. So we really were at a loss for good chances. Neither goalkeeper at this stage had been even tested. To be honest, wasn't much work for the keepers. They were trying to keep themselves warm. And then one little nice moment, lovely ball played through to Valentin Noel. He gets it into Corey Bennett, who's got time to turn in the box. Yeah, gets a lucky deflection, but you can't allow strikers to turn and shoot in your box like that. So a little moment of loss of concentration by Pittsburgh, and they paid the price.
I don't know if my mind is playing tricks on me, but I still think I see 2 deflections in there. The first one off of Biasi as it was going to go off target, and then the other one back on target from a sliding Danny Griffin. Here's a look at the stats from the first half, brought to you by US Bank. Not a whole lot of opportunities, only the 1 shot on target leading to the 1 goal, and Vegas controlled a lot of the ball in that first half.
They did, but whether they threatened Pittsburgh is another matter. I'll give you the expected goals as well, 0.35 for Las Vegas, 0.19 for Pittsburgh. So, and Pittsburgh's last match against North Carolina, their total expected goals is 0.25. So it's a worrying trend for Bob Liddy. They're not creating good chances. And we saw their set pieces weren't good. I think if you can't create an open play, then make sure you use all your set pieces. But even that hasn't worked so well for the Riverhounds.
Just feels like it's waiting to turn for the Riverhounds. It's there for the taking, but they're just not taking it offensively despite their defensive efforts. Just about set for second half kick. And tonight's second half kick is presented by Comprehensive Cancer Centers. Kick cancer in Las Vegas for more than 40 years. JC Griggs, if you see that bewildered look on his face, it's because he knows we need 2 teams to play a soccer match, but there's only 1 team out there, and it's Las Vegas. Looking around, trying to find Pittsburgh, so 2 are the Las Vegas players.
Just wonder if Bob Lilly's really reading the right act to his players, or whether he's made a few changes and they're changing tactics. And it's a difficult one for a coach. He has players on the bench. Maybe he brings in Jack Walty at some stage, Emmanuel Johnson up front, even Bradley Sample, who, by the way, last match against North Carolina hit a volley from a clearance from a corner, one of the best strikes I've seen for a long time. Good save from the keeper. So is Bob Lilly hatching up a survival plan here with a few changes?
We've seen in recent weeks, the videos have made the rounds on social media. Bob Lilly, the lengthy post-game chats that he's had on the field with his teams. You wonder if, again, as you mentioned, one of those is happening right now at halftime. You also wonder if it's partly gamesmanship and just trying to stay out of the heat as long as possible, but the Vegas side is ready, the referees are ready, and Pittsburgh is not.
Well, there's a couple of options on the bench. Might as well use the opportunity to talk about what Vegas can do second half. Solo Asante, of course, available. Emre Clemente can come into a fullback position. Hafferty goes to right back, and they've pushed Sean Smart up into the right wing position at times. Edison Azcona. Nice options for Vegas. I just think Pittsburgh with less options on the bench. And right now, no options on the pitch.
Well, while nothing's happening on the pitch, let's take a look again at the one thing that did happen. It was the goal in that first half for Las Vegas.
Yeah, Nigro with the ball to Noel, who puts a lovely one in to Corey Bennett, who's got time to turn, and then there's definitely one.
Do you think it's two? Am I crazy?
Could be.
I thought the first one off of Biasi. Let's see. Right there. Yeah, two.
Good.
I'm
Well
not
done.
crazy, Gary.
Okay.
There we go.
Biasi followed by Griffin. No wonder the keeper couldn't save it. He didn't know which deflection to go for.
A shout out to our production staff for getting that look at it and slowing it down.
But one thing's for sure, Bob Lilly will not be happy that Corey Bennett was able to receive the ball with his back to goal and turn and get a strike inside the box. Normally you would have a centre back or a defender jump on any striker before they get a chance to turn. But they are out, which is good to see. And we'll see if there's any changes or whether it was just a stern talking to that the players got.
To be a fly on the wall in that conversation.
Yeah. Well, to be fair to Bob Lilly, he's had so many good teams in the past. He's probably really annoyed that he just can't get out of this team what he wants to get. I mean, he is the coach of the year. This is the team that won the Shield last year. And he's been coach of the year twice in the USL and 6 times overall in his coaching life. So he knows what to expect. And if he's not getting it, Bob Lilly clearly will not be happy.
Very curious what the look is for Pittsburgh in this second half. You and I touched on it at the top of the broadcast. We weren't sure if the formation we posted for you would be the one. It certainly seemed to be, as you had it pegged, Gary, from the beginning. But that's not to say that Bob Lilly won't change it based on what he saw in that first half. You wonder if he has something up his sleeve here in half number 2 to try and spark something offensively for Pittsburgh.
He's got short sleeves. I don't know what's up those sleeves, but either
a lot
way.
of sweat right now, 105 degrees. That's what's up those sleeves. Well, after quite the delay, Pittsburgh finally materializes, and we are set for second half action. It's Vegas left to right in the gray, Pittsburgh right to left in the yellow. Alongside Manchester United great Gary Bailey, I'm Joe Malfa. It's 1-0 Las Vegas Lights. Pittsburgh this season has not won when they've trailed at halftime, 0-6-1. Hoping to put a stop to that trend as they try to inch back toward that playoff line, and we're finally underway in half number 2.
Well, early free kick, but just staying with the Bob Lilly theme. We did chat to him the other day and say to him, have you been in this situation before? Because he's been super successful. And he said, yeah, you'll be surprised. 2019 started off with 2 wins and 7 draws from their 11 games and still won the Eastern Championship. And he said after that they went 19 wins and 2 draws and 2 losses. So he said we've had a bad start. He said even last year we were 2 wins, 2 draws and 5 losses. When he had 11 points from 9 games, went unbeaten the next 13 games. So he has turned it around, you know, a couple of times in the last 4 or 5 seasons from bad starts.
Here's Mushagalusa to the end line. Mushagalusa floating it, going, and it hits the crossbar. Rosarena got an awkward read on it, and it almost drifted in from Mushagalusa. Not his intent, but it nearly worked out.
Yeah, goalkeeper probably should have dealt with that. Normally you would just tip it over the bar as it comes in. Let's have a look at it again. Mushagalusa doing well, goes down the line. Now for me, as a goalkeeper, you'd want to tip that over the bar before it gets there. So Rosarena, lucky to get away with that one.
And that will be a throw here for Vegas. And back to your conversation about Bob Lilly turning it around. I don't know if it's so much a question about Bob Lilly, because his track record is more than proven. It just becomes a question about the personnel on the field. Do they have the pieces, Pittsburgh, in place already? As I do shift this to a goal kick, I believe now. But do they have the pieces on the field? That's the question. I don't know if we have the answer for the games that we've seen so far this season.
Back to a previous point you made, Bob Lilly has the ability to bring out the best in players. There's been a number of teams, as he showed there, 2019 and even last year, that started badly. You looked at them and thought, oh, really, is this player good enough? Is that player good enough? And they end up being champions by the end of the season and top goal scorers.
And that's why the Mushagalusa move was really interesting that you and I talked about in the first half. Last year just couldn't find a home, was in Louisville, then San Diego, then back to Louisville. This year he starts in Hartford. Chance coming on here through Kizza, but it's shepherded away by Vegas. Given right back to Kizza on the end line. And Vegas will play out of it. But Mushagalusa couldn't find a home even this year, from Hartford now to Pittsburgh. If there's any coach who's going to turn him back to a double-digit goal scorer, you have to think it's Bob Lilly.
Which is important for Mushagalusa, because if he doesn't come right here, other coaches will look at it and say exactly that point. If Bob Lilly can't turn him around, and the other coaches he's been to, all of which are excellent coaches, if they can't get the best out of him, maybe he's not worth bringing to your club. And that's not good for a young player with so much talent in Mushagalusa. So we really hope that he listens to Bob Lilly and improves here and resurrects his career.
Throw coming for Vegas. Take it quickly. Noel chipping it. Bennett was lurking. Tune into ESPN2 for a USL Summer of Soccer showdown between Championship Eastern Conference rivals. It's Charleston Battery and Golden Boot leader Nick Marcanic taking on Birmingham Legion with their dual scoring threats, Enzo Martinez and Tyler Pasher. That's Friday, July 5th at 7 p.m. Eastern.
Edward Key's a little bit frustrated there, just barrels into the defender. You know, you're better off just letting the defender head it and try and pick up the loose ball, but he's working on his own up front. He's not getting a lot of service.
Rosarena boots it long. Just kept in along the line, and now some space materializing for Vegas. Griffin back the other way for Pittsburgh, becoming a track meet that we didn't really see in the first half. Stretching out just a bit. Griffin sneaks it through. What a ball that was. Rosarena read it well.
That was a fantastic run, brilliant ball, so close to being a wonderful goal. And give Rosarena credit, brave as could be, just dives at the feet there, off very quickly off his line. But that's better play from Pittsburgh. And they have players like Danny Griffin, like Robbie Mertz, who have the legs, who have the ability to run at the Vegas defense.
You think it's happenstance in these first 5 minutes of the second half that it's becoming more stretched, or by design by these coaches right now?
Probably Bob Lilly saying, look guys, if you're going to go down fighting, just attack, let's do a lot more, let's push from midfield. I don't know if he's restructured. I'm looking to see Luke Biasi's dropping a little bit deeper there. But either way, you want to get Mertz and Griffin on that front foot and get them running at defenses, and then Mushagalusa and Keys are looking for balls. Then there's options on the bench. Not as many for Pittsburgh, But maybe Jack Walty, maybe Bradley Sample are good options. I certainly would love to see Solo Asante come on for Las Vegas Lights. He's had some really good performances for the Lights. He has that sort of ability, that touch ability that alongside the likes of Valentin Noel and Coleman Gannon, those sort of players can play the ball amongst each other with such ability, such skill.
Interesting thing that struck me once we saw the lineups released for these teams tonight. On the bench for Pittsburgh, there's Griffin stepping into the space. Griffin leads it through to the end line. Now some contact there. Penalty given. A lifeline for Pittsburgh. Nigro can't believe it. But it didn't seem like there was much of a question there.
And where does that come from? It comes from a midfielder running into the box and tempting a defender to do something. And that's what we didn't see from Pittsburgh. So credit the Riverhounds. Griffin here running it, playing into the box rather. And maybe looking for the ball there, Robbie Mertz, or looking for the contact rather. See how he sort of steps across, but he tempts Nigro to take him down. And that's the combination of the two midfielders, Danny Griffin and Robbie Mertz, getting on the front foot. And already it's paid dividends for the Riverhounds.
I was just ready to say that if you look at the bench for the Riverhounds, they only have one goal on the bench, so they don't really have anybody to bring in to shake this game up. Their entire bench accounts for one goal this season, but now a lifeline, and it's somebody with 3 goals this season who's putting the ball down, and Danny Griffin against Raiko Rosarena to level things once again at 1 in the 53rd minute. Danny Griffin denied, rebound saved again by Rosarena. Rewarding Dennis Sanchez for the decision to put him back in the 11 tonight. Still 1-0 Vegas.
Fantastic double save by the keeper, going to his right-hand side here, makes the first one, then gets up nice and quickly, stands strong, makes a comfortable second save, but he reads it right. And is he going to keep that clean sheet they've been looking for, Las Vegas Lights? They're well on the way.
Not out of the woods yet. Now from the corner, it's Forbes. It's more difficult there in your mind, the penalty save or the rebound save?
I think the penalty save is more difficult. You have to go the right way. The rebound, it was stood, it was knocked fairly close to his body. But what's good is he gets up nice and quickly and positions himself, plants his feet down, ready for the rebound.
And now led away by Smart.
What a chance for Pittsburgh Riverhounds. You're struggling to score goals, you get a penalty. It's not a bad penalty, but it's not a good one. It's at a nice, comfortable height for the keeper. If you read the right direction, then you've got a great chance of making the save.
Going to see a change now. That'll be all for Dre Fortune, who's still getting up to full fitness, having signed less than 2 weeks ago. Xander Romero will take his spot. Slipped ahead again toward Griffin and Kiza. Awkward moment at the back for Vegas. They had a run of 3 clean sheets spanning March into April to begin the year. Then after April 6th, they would go without a clean sheet until June 1st. It's 4 matches without one since then. And few and far between the clean sheets this season, as you mentioned, for Las Vegas.
And if I'm not mistaken, it was Rosarena in goals for all those 3 clean sheets.
He's got 3 on the year.
So maybe there's something about Rosarena. He's been given a bit of a shock with Nick Amateur coming in and playing really well against Loudon, for example. But now that he's back, he'll be keen to keep that #1 spot. And certainly that sort of save, or double save, will go down very well with Dennis Sanchez, I'm sure.
About to have a score-go final elsewhere in Orange County. Oakland Roots on the road, 2-0 victory. That is a minute 30 away from the finish line in stoppage time. And in the live table, that would put Oakland level on points with Sacramento. Republic would be in 2nd place on the tiebreaker, Roots in 3rd. They were lifeless. They were in 11th at the time of the coaching change. They are now tied with Sacramento Republic on points. They boast a win over Sacramento as well. Scoreline of 3-2 in Sacramento. Those two teams will meet again on July 21st in Oakland on CBS at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. So the Roots certainly continuing their surge. And Sacramento right now at home scoreless at the half against Hartford Athletic. One of those on paper where you've got Hartford below the playoff line coming east to west. It's one of those on paper that seems like it has to be 3 for Sacramento, and Hartford giving them a stiff test.
You never know what to expect from Hartford with Misha Ingalina up front. You know, he can cause absolute havoc, as he did against Pittsburgh. Scored one. I think he actually scored both in that 2-0 win over Pittsburgh. On his day, he can destroy any team. Talking of goals, they've just reached an expected goal of 1 now, Pittsburgh, and haven't scored. I've added the expected goals over the last 4 games. It equals 4. And they haven't scored in any of those games.
Now Valentin Noel trying to get another one here for Vegas. Almost feels like if they get 2, the night might be done given Pittsburgh's track record. But the second one won't come here.
Well, taken by the big goalkeeper again. But that's over the last 4 games, expected goals equals 4, and they've got 0 goals. Therein summarizes the whole problem for me. And I think it's an obvious problem. You know, if you create the chances like the penalty and you don't take them, then you're going to pay a price. I don't know what else Bob Lilly can do. I mean, he obviously said to the midfielders, push forward. They go forward. They combine Danny Griffin and Robbie Mertz to win a penalty. And then Danny Griffin can't stick it in the back of the net.
Nor the rebound. It's been better, though, for Pittsburgh in this second half. And again, it's coming through Griffin in the midfield. Just to force this one back to Biasi. Through for Kiza, flag stays down. Kiza drops it back. Mertz, Kiza, looking back post over everything. At some point, this just does get to be disheartening if you're Pittsburgh. You wonder what on earth you have to do to find the net, to find a result. Their last few games have, again, just showcased the struggles to find the net. You go all the way back to May 4th. That's their last victory. It came 1-0 over Miami. Haven't won since then. And within that, they had a 2-2 draw against Tulsa. Okay, on that night, they were able to find a couple of goals, but they scored 1 against North Carolina, were kept scoreless against Memphis, scored 1 against Indy, scoreless against Charleston, scoreless against Hartford, scoreless against Louisville, scoreless against North Carolina, scoreless here tonight on a missed penalty, or saved penalty rather, and the ensuing rebound. At some point, that doubt is a very loud voice in the back of your head and no longer just a whisper.
You're just causing depression for all the Riverhounds fans at
I
this
don't mean
stage.
to. It's just fact that it just gets to the mentality of what do you have to do. Maybe it's here through Griffin. Still alive now in the 18, and it's flashed wide. Gary, you've been there, maybe in a different regard as a goalkeeper, but at some point, when you have a run like this, how much does the doubt and the weight of it just weigh on you when it's not happening?
It can do, which is why, and as we just see that shot going wide from Robbie Mertz, that's why when you get a penalty, you've got to finish it. And it's a decent save from Rosarina, but even if the keeper guesses right, he put enough power behind that he won't get it, or do you wait for the keeper to dive like so many strikers do these days? They come up slowly to the penalty, they wait, they go the opposite direction. Whatever it takes, you've got to hit the back of the net and get your team back on level terms. But if you can't score penalties, you can't score from open play, wow, then I just don't know what the next step is. So it is so tough for Riverhounds fans who lived with incredible success the last 4 or 5 seasons.
As we've reached the hour mark in this one, it's now 453 minutes without a goal for Pittsburgh.
And then chatting to Bob the other day, he said, you know what, we have played well at times as he gets some substitutes ready. He said we played well at Indy at home, but we lost 2-1. We missed some sitters. We got a draw at Charleston. We were better than them in the first half, Bob said. And he said they had 10 days to prepare. He said we dominated Tampa on our own field. He said, but to be fair, we didn't play well in half, but we came back, hit the post twice. So, you know, we lost 2-0, but we could have been level. So they said there's been some bad performance and there's been some performances in which they've done well, but not got much out of it.
It's Babacar Dieng, who's set to check in, referenced it earlier that they only had one goal represented on the bench tonight, and it belongs to Babacar Dieng. He's one of 3 coming on now for Pittsburgh. Sample, Dieng, and Emmanuel Johnson.
Unfortunately for Mushagalusa, he comes off and still battling to prove himself, Mushagalusa.
Mertz quick for the free kick. Etu. Mertz wants it back. Etu floats it back post. And out of play. Leonardo Forbes, the third who gave way for Pittsburgh.
Well, it's a brave move by Bob Lilly, but it's necessary. He must be so frustrated with the inability to find the back of the net, and he's just thrown them on and said, right guys, go and show me what you can do. It's a risk, but it's a sensible risk. And you're saying to players, and like Bradley Sample, as we said in that last match against North Carolina, hit a volley that as good as I've seen for a long time. And I'm sure Bob Lilly's just said to them, guys, just go out there, have fun, and just see if you can just do something, just get the team back in this game. Show me a little moment of magic.
So again, it's Sample for Forbes, Dieng for Kiza, and Johnson for Mushagalusa. 3 sets of fresh legs in the attack for Pittsburgh. Down a goal. Goal less for 456 minutes and counting. There was a point this year, part of that larger conversation of Pittsburgh being able to turn it on at a moment's notice, and you never know when that moment may come. But there was a point this year, Gary, where it seemed like they had come out of it and they were getting their results. They were finding a way. And at that moment, it was like, all right, here it is, the run from a Bob Lilly team to get back on track. And all of a sudden, the lights went out. It was that 3-game winning streak they had over Pittsburgh, Detroit, and Miami. Thought the tide had turned, and then ever since then, it's been the 8 without a victory. Within that 4 losses, 4 draws.
Stern talking to again from Bob Lilly, instructions as to how to get themselves back in the match. Scratch of the head from the maestro coach. Never easy, the job of being a coach in football. A good time to get the hydration in as well on a hot night.
I believe we'll have an actual official hydration break coming up in 10 more minutes, so use every break you can on a night like this. As Noel makes his way now off the field. Get a thumbs up from the trainer. It seems as if the captain should be able to continue. And an assist tonight on the goal by Corey Bennett. That's the difference right now. Came back in the 40th minute. To get more of a look tonight at Babacar Dieng. It's mostly been off the bench for Dieng. This is his 10th appearance off the bench to go with 3 starts additionally. Has a goal, has an assist. 27-year-old, got a late start collegiately. Spent the last 2 years at Ryder in the collegiate ranks, and and came onto the scene late, but had some success. 13 goals last year, was all conference at Ryder. Before his time in college, he played in USL League Two with FC Motown. It's just an ability to find these diamonds in the rough for Bob Lilly. Babacar Dieng fits that bill. Physical presence. Arrived at the party a little bit late. Again, 27 years of age. Last 2 years spent collegiately, so he was an older college player. You wonder if Bob Lilly sleeps and where he finds these players as far as his scouting goes. Dieng has shown flashes this year.
It's so difficult when, for example, Charleston go and pick out the best players at Memphis that Pierman had there, and they've got the money to do that.
Free kick delivered in, and it's Dieng who's in the thick of it. Johnson now. That too.
Okay, just to finish that point, some clubs can get the best players in the USL. They can get some from MLS, but if you don't have the budget, which you would guess Pittsburgh don't, because they weren't able to keep their top goal scorer, Albert Dickwer, got a better contract to go to Rhode Island. So at the end of the day, you've got to go down the divisions to find these diamonds, and it's not easy to find them. Some of them might look like diamonds and not turn out to be.
That too. Delivery. Arozarena fumbled it. There was some contact. He was fouled. Call made by J.C. Griggs.
Yeah, if the goalkeeper's catching the ball, you can't barrel into him. You can, I guess, if you're heading the ball, but let's have a look and see. The goalkeeper makes contact with the ball. The player makes contact with the goalkeeper and doesn't get the ball. It's got to be a free kick. You deserve to lie down and take a rest after that double save from the penalty.
Right.
Get the cameras on you. He made a brave save there. He's taken the knocks. He's done what he has for his team, what he's had to do rather.
The result did go final, by the way. Oakland Roots 2, Orange County 0. Wow. Goals from Cam Riley and Johnny Rodriguez.
Wow, this West is all over the place. It's impossible to read who's going to make the playoffs and who's not. You just need a couple of bad weeks or good weeks and everything changes.
Yeah, the Roots have won 6 of their last 8 games. Wow. Started to see the signs of growth after they had the coaching change and Gavin Glinton took over. His first handful of matches after taking over for Noah Delgado, it was a draw at San Antonio, which in hindsight doesn't look as impressive anymore, to be fair, with San Antonio's 5-game losing skid. But it was a draw at San Antonio, then a 2-1 hard-fought loss against New Mexico, where New Mexico scored late on. Those were the first 2 games. It showed you an ability to fight. Ever since then, it's 6 wins in 8 matches, and they've gone from 11th up to 3rd. Wow. Beating some top teams in that stretch, mind you. Wins over Sacramento on the road and Tampa Bay at home.
Well, they need to keep it going because they can just as easily go from 3rd back down to 11th.
And it's just a
doesn't
telltale.
Take many losses, does it?
It doesn't take many wins either. A telltale sign here for Vegas. Maybe this is the start of something special for Vegas if they can get the victory tonight. They've been so close. They've had all these draws. They've been in it. They've trusted that process. Back to the back post for Etu. But it's been about process and performance right now for Vegas and just waiting for the win to come. Cleaning things up defensively was the message for Dennis Sanchez. They've done it for the most part. And the one hiccup where they conceded the penalty, Franco Arozarena bails them out with the save on the penalty and the rebound. Now it's Mertz. 7 yellow jerseys at that one point in the box for Pittsburgh. Just flooding numbers forward.
I guess if you're a Las Vegas fan, you want a second goal here because you know Pittsburgh are going to come at you, and they are coming at you, and they've already had the penalty scare. They want to wrap another one up. So I'm just wondering if they shouldn't get some more fresh legs on. Only the one change so far. So looking at the likes of of Solo Asante, a good player who can just hold the ball up, come on with fresh ideas, fresh legs.
And you have to wonder if it would be for the captain, Valentin Noel, who was just doubled over again. Still stretching out that back. It looked like he was feeling for when the trainer was out there. Doesn't seem to be moving right. That could be the swap. Asante for Noel. Here's Biasi stepping back up for Pittsburgh. At 2. Active down this left side in the second half. Couldn't get past Sean Smart.
You can see a couple of subs at the bottom of your screen, so maybe as we were discussing, fresh legs about to come on.
Fabian Garcia and Emra Clementa, the two getting set to check in. So 2 center backs already. Good run through the middle from Ngando. Free kick in a terrific spot here for Las Vegas. This is one of those spots where you like to sub in Solomon Asante just for the free kick if you could, but he's not going to be one of the 2 coming on right now for Vegas.
And if you had Charlie Adams, who scored against Lou City from the edge of the box and hit the crossbar last match, I think it was last match against Memphis in the dying moments. So what they'll probably do here is push Sean Smart into midfield and Hafferty to right back, and then drop one of those central defenders, if not both of them. They could go 3 at the back.
I was about to say, maybe it is 3 at the back, because these 2 are center backs out and out. So is Malik Howell. So maybe it's those 3 across. And lockdown mode for Las Vegas. They'd like for it to be lockdown mode with the 2-0 lead, and they have the opportunity here on this free kick. Ngando stands over it. Four-man wall for Jacob Randolph. No goals yet this season for Ngando. This would be quite the time for it, and it would be in spectacular fashion. 74th minute, Ngando right into the wall. Clementa now sporting the captain's armband. Corey Bennett, who owns the lone tally of the evening.
Seems like Hafferty's been pushed into midfield, Howell to right back, and Sean Smart into the right wing position. So some tinkering going on. Oh, that was a bit overhit.
I wondered when it left his foot. Yeah, I wondered when it left his foot if it was going to keep going, and the answer was yes. It looked awkward. It was sold nicely on that far side, as if it was going to stay in. I'll chalk it up to being Emra Clementa's first touch. Knock off the rust. Yassi just harassed by Gannon. Doesn't seem like Las Vegas is showing any signs of wanting to go into a defensive shell. They are committing more numbers forward, it almost seems, just to keep Pittsburgh locked into their own half right now.
I'm just trying to find clean sheets for Las Vegas. They had one at home against Phoenix Rising. And you got to go way back to April. They had one at home against San Antonio. So they haven't had many, also against El Paso. So that's 3 the entire season so far in, what is it, 14 games. But in recent times, there literally has been that one against Phoenix in the last sort of 8 or 9 games. So would give them so much confidence if they can just hang on to this clean sheet.
especially with the numbers that we showed you in the team comparison at the top of the broadcast. Just the sheer number of goals they've conceded this year. Las Vegas, it's a lofty total. On the flip side, Pittsburgh only 11 goals scored, so it's weakness on weakness. And so far tonight, it's been Vegas persevering and finding a way defensively. Corey Bennett looking on in the huddle. It's his tally still holding up 36 minutes later. Had the benefit of a double deflection. Though to be fair, if it took no deflection, it still might have been going into that low corner. It was struck well.
Was struck well. The ball in from Noel was lovely. The turn was good. The strike. And Sean Smart was ready here. If the keeper had parried it out, number 20 was right on the spot to tap it into the net. And I think it started from Nigro with a lovely first-time ball. So good move all round from Las Vegas Lights.
And remember, there was that shout for an offside from Pittsburgh that led to a conference among the officials. You could see it there with Smart flashing across. They were of the belief, Pittsburgh, that he was impeding the goalkeeper's vision or ability to dive for that ball. Referees, after conferring, deemed that was not the case. The USL Championship is on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. You can catch live matches and expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golazo Network and ESPN+. Go to uslchampionship.com for the complete USL TV listings. That match right now between Sacramento and Hartford is available on the Golazo Network if you want to first double screen it for the last dozen minutes of our game, but then be ready to switch over. Because once this game goes final, you'll still have about 20-25 minutes in that game. It's still 0-0 between Sacramento and Hartford at the 53-minute mark. The only other active game right now in USL Championship. Blackstock. Get to EJ Johnson, had it taken away. On the turn, there's plenty of space centrally here for Hafferty.
Some good defensive play by Las Vegas. They were dropped very, very deep there, denying space. And it worked for them. They got turnover ball. They've worked themselves forward. But maybe they're taking a more pragmatic approach to life rather than attacking a lot. You got a 1-0 lead, 12 or less than 12 minutes to go. And then you just drop deep, keep possession, play the game away. A lot of teams do play when they're 1-0 up. They just try and play out the clock and drop so deep and deny you any space in that final third. I don't think it's Las Vegas' style, but maybe they've decided, you know what, we need to do whatever we need to do to get 3 points.
There have still only been 3 shots on target in this match, and you can pinpoint all 3. For Vegas, the only shot on target is the goal. For Pittsburgh, the only 2 shots on target are the penalty and the ensuing rebound. That's it.
Wow. Difference is with Las Vegas, you know that they can score goals. They've scored in virtually every game they've played in recent times. They've got 3 against Colorado a couple of games ago. For Pittsburgh, they're struggling to score. What's your number now? They reached 500 minutes yet without a goal.
Well, let's do the quick math. It was 4:53 at the hour mark is what I noted. That was 20 minutes ago, so it's 4:73 now. Worst it could get tonight is 4:83. And that number would loom large for Pittsburgh because that is a drastic stretch.
So I think it's more of a problem for Pittsburgh, the scoring side. Having said that, you can flip it the other way and say, well, defending, it's about time Vegas had a clean sheet.
Bennett, was he offside? Yes, he was. So for Pittsburgh, just to be more specific here on this stretch, if you go back to the loss they had 2-1, it was at the hands of Indy 11 back on June 1st. They scored with 33 minutes remaining in that game. This would be 5 consecutive matches since then without a goal, tallying up to that 483 mark. And with this being June 29th and their final match of the month, it means, Gary, they would have gone this entire month scoring just 1 goal, Pittsburgh.
Wow. I think there's enough time to buy Albert Dickwer back from Rhode Island.
He scored this week, actually, in that victory over El Paso. Scored the opening goal. The 3-0 victory for Rhode Island. And it's Rhode Island now after these last 2 victories that they've enjoyed. 5-2 last week over Louisville, and that 2-0 in the midweek against El Paso. They have actually leapfrogged Pittsburgh in the standings. 3 points clear. This one floated over the top here. Opportunity brewing perhaps for Pittsburgh. Johnson trying to find some space. Vegas is there to go the other way with it again. That's another couple of touches in the box that don't amount to anything for Pittsburgh. It's a counter here for Las Vegas. Momentum slowed down. I note those touches in the box for Pittsburgh because it's now 25 touches in the opposing 18-yard box, and they don't have a shot on target outside of the penalty sequence. How do you go 25 touches in an opposing 18-yard box in a match and not find a way through? Tip of the cap, of course, to Vegas for closing things down, but that's a telltale sign of a team right now just struggling for ideas. Very stagnant in the attacking third.
Yeah, and I'm sure Riverhounds fans are looking at it saying, you know, wish we had Russell Cicerone or Alex Dixon, of course, Albert Dickwer. You want players who can score goals. You want natural finishers there. I'm not so sure that what they've got, they're good players, but are they the ones that can, you know, make goals happen for you? They've certainly had those in the past, Riverhounds.
And I hope it's not coming across that you and I are harping too much on this goal-scoring drought for Pittsburgh, but the fact of the matter is, when you score 1 goal in a month and you're nearly 500 minutes without one, it has to be the conversation because you're not going to win games, you're not going to find points if you don't find the goals. And this Pittsburgh team right now is sinking in the standings. Have to find a way. We know they're capable of it. They even showed it in that spurt this year when they had that 3-game winning streak. Brilliant touch, sneaking through for Sean Smart, continues to run. Smart, step over to the right foot. Smart, it's just wide. For the individual effort alone, for the near 70 yards he covered, that might have gone down as one of the goals of the week, but not meant to be. Only a what could have been for Sean Smart.
I mentioned how quick he is to you earlier in the game. When he gets going, look at the pace he's got, the acceleration, the control there. Goes one way, comes back the other. Shot unfortunately not on target for him, but he is so good in those counter-attacks, so that's why they push him up into midfield. When the defense is tiring, the opposing defense is tiring, the pace of Sean Smart becomes a very valuable asset for Las Vegas.
It's fed through for Johnson, offside. It won't matter. As you've sat here and taken this game in, Gary, tonight, again, I read those numbers to you. 51 final third entries, 24 touches officially in the opposing 18-yard box. It shows you that Pittsburgh's getting there, but it's breaking down once they're there. Why? Is it a lack of a focal point as far as a striker goes? Is it a lack of ideas? Is it a lack of runs? Execution? It could fall to a myriad of different things. Maybe it's a combination of all of that, but is there one thing that sticks out above the rest as to why it's not clicking once they get there?
It could just be down to talent, and I don't mean to be harsh on the strikers for Pittsburgh, but again, you know, would Russell Cicerone have made something a couple of seasons ago? Would Alex Dixon have his pace taken him into better positions? Would Albert Dickwer last season have tucked a few of those away? The answer is probably yes. So are the players good enough? Maybe that's a question. You know, King Kenny was a major player. Is he having less and less influence for Pittsburgh? Oh, that was risky. Now, all these things combine, and yet, having said that, they're only 3 points off a playoff spot, or being level on points with a playoff spot, and this team could still come good. So Riverhounds fans, believe in Bob Lilly. He could make it work.
Slip through from Smart. It's saved by Jacob Randolph, denying Ngando. Feels like that second goal is coming now for Vegas, but they cannot slam the door shut, and they're still leaving Pittsburgh in it.
That's a good bit of play from Las Vegas. That's what they're more known for, these wonderful moves forward. Sean Smart again causing problems with his pace. Lovely ball, and Ngando just can't lift it over the keeper, but to be fair, he's a big keeper, he's a big block, makes a vital save. Jacob Randolph, and just keeps his team in it for another 5 more minutes plus at a time.
Diassi helped to his feet, hobbling around. At 1-0, the possibility is always there, whether it's a mistake, whether it's a moment of brilliance. At 2-0, given Pittsburgh's month of June, probably got to put those 3 points already on the total. If they can get that second goal here late on, supply the insurance. The remaining few minutes would just be a formality at that point.
I'll go back to the Colorado Springs match. 89th minute, Ronaldo Damas got the equalizer to make it 3-3. So Pittsburgh have still got a couple of minutes to match that. And so Las Vegas fans don't assume anything at this stage.
Ngando never felt the pressure coming. Turns it up now. Ngando slips it through. There's the second. Guess who? A second on the night for Corey Bennett. And Las Vegas is going to celebrate a victory tonight at home.
Well done, Las Vegas. They've been knocking at that door now for a few minutes, and Corey Bennett, that's his 6th in the last 5 games. He is turning out to be a fantastic player for Vegas just when they need him. But Ngando running forward, thought he had lost it here, but kept going, head up, was aware they weren't tight enough on Corey Bennett for the 2nd time this match, and he's punished them, and they eventually get their 2nd. And unfortunately for Riverhounds, that is it for the night, or so it would seem. And a clean sheet as well would be a fantastic finish to this game for Las Vegas Lights.
There's a reason he's been in that starting 11 more frequently as of late, Corey Bennett. 2 tonight, 6 goals on the year, coming in the last 5 games. For Ngando, it goes down as a 2nd assist on the season. He's been so creative tonight, showing up in those dangerous areas. Danny Revere up the late sub here for Luke Biasi. It's going to be too little, too late tonight for Pittsburgh. Authoring 2 goals in the final few minutes after 1 goal in the month of June would be quite the turnaround. It's possible. It's possible.
Yeah, at 1-0 they were still in with a chance. At 2, it's a mountain to climb. And if anything, Las Vegas could catch them on the counter if they throw too many bodies forward. But for all the praise for Corey Bennett, take nothing away from the man in picture. That penalty save came at a crucial time, 1-0 up. Double save, absolutely vital by Rosarina. And I think he has definitely earned the right to stay as the #1 for the foreseeable future.
And Corey Bennett, the 26-year-old from Jamaica. It's his first season in USL Championship, mind you. He really impressed in USL League One the last couple of seasons with Charlotte Independence. He had 11 goals in 2022, 6 goals in 2023. That was in a reduced role in 2023 where he was typically coming off the bench. Only 9 starts, 21 appearances off the bench, still manufactured 6 goals after 11 the year prior as a regular starter. So anyway, you slice it, 17 goals over 2 seasons. And now has a chance at a hat trick. Corey Bennett striding ahead, cutting inside, back outside, Bennett over the bar.
Wow, wouldn't that have been a wonderful hat trick to get? And Osamano just doing enough. Bad first touch here, but he chases back Osamano and just does enough to put Corey Bennett off, slows him down here. Bennett cuts inside, and as he goes again, just forces him to take that shot a bit quicker than he probably wanted to.
And that's going to be all for Corey Bennett. He's subbed off. Coleman Gannon comes out as well. Corey Bennett waving on the crowd. No doubt about it. He's your hardest working man of the match. Presented by Livers Union 8-7-2. 2 goals on the night for Corey Bennett.
Fantastic. But again, as if you look over the last 5 games, 6 goals. That's what you need to do well in a league, is a player who's banging in goals on a regular basis. And he has taken them so well, and in 2 of those penalties, he won the penalties himself in previous games. So he hasn't just been the fortunate recipient of penalties. He's actually made it all happen, that man. And that's why they've left the false 9 style of play and decided to play with a regular 9 instead.
7 minutes stoppage time tacked on at the end of this. Well, stoppage time, of course, doesn't count when it comes to tallying up goalless droughts. So it is officially at 483, and that's where it's going to stop for now for Pittsburgh, unless they score here in stoppage time. eFootball 2024 is here. Live your dream, rep your team, and play as your favorite USL Championship team. Off the punt from the keeper. It's saved off the line. Going direct now, just trying to find some more. Would have been a goalkeeper assist for Rosarena to go with his penalty save. That would have been cause for player of the week, perhaps. Save a penalty, find an assist, notch a clean sheet. Not meant to be.
There was a quick yellow card pulled out there. And here's this long ball over the top. Goalkeeper's late. I tell you what, he hits the attacker and gets away with that. Ali Guy gets hit on the head, but referee decides it wasn't enough for a penalty.
At 2, flicks it along for Rivera, and out for a goal kick. Still scoreless between Sacramento and Hartford, with just over 25 minutes remaining. Again, once this goes final, feel free to switch over to that one on Golazo Network if you're not double screening it already. And for Vegas, the next one is going to be on the road against that Sacramento team, who is battling right now with Hartford. It's coming up in the midweek on Wednesday on CBS Sports Network. Then they have a little time off, Vegas, after that game on the 3rd. They don't play until El Paso on the 12th, also on the road. Then they have 2 more weeks off, and then it's Colorado Springs on the road. Then they're on the road 5 days later against New Mexico. So it's that 4-game road stretch. If there's a silver lining in having that many games in a row on the road, it's that they have 9 days between the first 2 games and then 14 days between game 2 and game 3. So plenty of time to come home, recuperate. It's not like it's multiple games or 3 games in 8 days per se, all on the road. There's a gap between them all.
Yeah, it's a tough stretch coming ahead, but these 3 points, or assumed 3 points, will help greatly. If we're to give Pittsburgh Riverhounds fans something to believe in, they've got exactly the opposite. They've got 4 home games. Monterey Bay, that's a long trip for Monterey Bay to make. Oakland Roots, also a long trip. Hartford, who've been struggling. And Loudon, who are not so bad this season.
Surging. Unbeaten in the last 6, and 4 of those being wins for Loudon United.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're a Riverhounds fan, get along there to Highmark, support the team, because 4 home games could be what turns this season around. This was never going to be easy, the long travel, the heat, etc.
Certainly feels as if this upcoming 4-game homestand is that fork in the road, that final fork in the road for Pittsburgh. If you don't pick up, I don't know, 6 points at least in those 4 matches, at least go 2-2. Monterey Bay and Oakland are up there in the standings in the West, and Loudon is surging in the East. The only one is Hartford, who's been struggling, yes, but we know they could turn it on at a moment's notice. So if your target's at least 6, given the tight nature of the playoff race in the East, if you don't get at least 6, Gary, you're 2 games beyond that to begin August. To look further ahead, on the road to Sacramento, on the road to Detroit City. So if you don't get it done in those 4 home games, those are 2 extremely difficult road games now into August, well beyond the halfway point of the season. So it feels as if we are at that major fork in the road of the Pittsburgh Riverhounds season.
I would say even more than 2 wins. You know, you're at home, you're at Highmark, you've got to be looking for at least 3. Because that's got to get you well into well done the keeper again to come and claim that. You know, 3 wins would see you into a playoff place, Pittsburgh, and a few points probably as a cushion before you go on the road again. Certainly was a time, thinking back last 3-4 seasons, when a match at Highmark was always a tough one. Even Tampa Bay would go there at their best and struggle to get anything.
It's just going to be a continued struggle to get anything, though, for Pittsburgh if they can't find a way to score.
Just wonder, is there a striker out there they could still get this season? Maybe one of their former strikers who's keen to come back and perform.
We know historically in this league there's moves to be made in the July and August months that separate the men from the boys, so to speak, in this league. And to your point, it's Pittsburgh who's maybe got to find something. They looked for it in Mushagalusa. He's going to only get better now. It's only a couple of games that he's appeared for Pittsburgh, and he's shown plenty of flashes, even tonight at Mushagalusa. So that's going to provide some spark, but is it enough? That's the question. I don't know that the answer to that question is yes.
He's got a lot to prove, Mushagalusa. He didn't do enough for me today. He hasn't done enough for his previous teams. What is it, 4 teams in the last year? So you can't rely on Mushagalusa. You can hope he comes right. And I think often what teams do is there's no USL player available because obviously they're with their teams. It often is an MLS player that an MLS team is saying, look, he's not getting enough, you know, minutes in the first team. We'd like you to take him and work with him. And let's wait and see what happens here.
Can they salvage a goal late on? Still loose in front for Johnson, turns away from goal. Rivera. And that is a microcosm of the month of June for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds.
It wasn't a good ball back in, was it? I thought when it came to Johnson, he had a chance of a volley there and decided not to take it. But yeah, maybe there's an MLS team that Bob Lilly can say, hey, you know, I'm good at working with players. Give me your man. I'll see if I can get him back to form by the end of the season. That might be the best option for Riverhounds going forward.
7 minutes have come and gone. We await the final whistle. And there it is. Las Vegas wins it 2-0 over Pittsburgh. They keep that coveted clean sheet that's been escaping them for a while. They're now unbeaten in their last 6 matches. 4 draws in that run, but now 2 wins, and they are at a tie on 21 points at that playoff line in the Western Conference.
Well done, Dennis Sanchez. It's a fantastic win today against the maestro, Bob Lilly. And as you quite rightly said, that clean sheet's so important. Corey Bennett, fantastic in attack, but take nothing away from a Rosarino at the other end, a double save from the penalty and 1 or 2 other good moments as well. So they're doing it at both ends of the pitch, in goals and as a striker. And it's onward and upwards for Las Vegas Lights.
And it's no surprise what the save of the game will be for you. Brought to you by the Nevada Donor Network. Remember, you can save a life at registerme.org. And we'll give you 2 for the price of 1 tonight. It's the penalty and the ensuing rebound. The only 2 saves he made, and they were 2 exquisite saves.
Yeah, Robbie Mertz brought down by Nigro. Up steps Griffin. There's the first save. Picks the right way. Gets up, gets himself set, and is able to parry away the follow-up shot. Well done to the keeper. Well, it's an important moment. Not only is the save important, but the save from Mushagalusa, the follow-up, but the timing of it, the fact they were only 1-0 up, that would have changed the match, you would have thought.
And the fact that he was coming back into the starting 11 tonight after a game away from that start, a couple of games away from that starting 11. So he stakes his claim back to that starting spot here for Las Vegas, who keep the clean sheet. And on the back of 2 goals by Corey Bennett, earn all 3 points tonight. We're back in just a moment to wrap things up from Cashman Field.
For over 85 years, Labor's Local 872 in Las Vegas have teamed up to change the world of entertainment, sports, and economic development. Labor's Local 872 is a proud member of Team Vegas. From 1937 to today, Local 872 has been moving Las Vegas forward. Our members built the Hoover Dam Extension Bridge, finished City Center, expanded our roads, and made Vegas the biggest stage in sports. Vegas is ready. It's game time.
At Silver State Schools Credit Union, we help you celebrate life's little moments and guide you through the big ones. Earn 2% cash back on every purchase with our Cashback Rewards credit card.
Silver State Schools Credit Union, your financial partner for life.
Mi raza bonita. Desde 1991 hemos compartido nuestras tradiciones mexicanas. Desde muy temprano, nuestros panaderos empiezan a elaborar los bolillos y el pan dulce. Y las tortillas todos los días salen calientitas. Le digo algo, mi raza bonita, lo que está hecho en la bonita, está hecho en Las Vegas.
Hey, bud. This doing nothing all day isn't good.
You should be out making friends.
Lots of friends.
Why? Huh? Because I'm not enough? By myself? Because you would love me more if I was always bringing over new money friends?
Yes.
It's called earning dividends, dear.
Get your money working with amazing certificate rates now at AmericaFirst.com. Desert Radiology is the area's chief resource for the highest quality medical imaging and diagnostic care. We're proud to offer 11 conveniently located imaging centers across the valley. As a member of the community for over 50 years, Desert Radiology is proud to be the official imaging partner of the Las Vegas Lights. To learn more, visit desertrad.com. That's desertrad.com. Let's go Lights!
Mi raza bonita, desde 1991 hemos compartido nuestras tradiciones mexicanas. Desde muy temprano, nuestros panaderos empiezan a elaborar los bolillos y el pan dulce. Y las tortillas todos los días salen calientitas. Le digo algo, mi raza bonita, lo que está hecho en la bonita, está hecho en Las Vegas.
Tonight's match is brought to you by America First Credit Union, Desert Radiology, and US Bank. A look at the full-time highlights from Las Vegas's 2-0 victory over the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. It started with the goal in the 40th minute for Corey Bennett, his first of 2 on the evening.
Yeah, Valentino with the ball to Corey Bennett. Time to turn, has a couple of deflections, as you managed to spot there, so not much chance for Jacob Randolph there. 1-2 deflections into the corner. Was Sean Smart offside? The answer is, according to the officials, no. And if he was, he wasn't affecting the play at all, which again, if you had VAR, you might have a discussion, but we don't have VAR, so referees have to make it in real time. Then there was the penalty, Griffin, and gives it there. And there's a penalty definitely from number 33, Nigro. Brings down Robbie Mertz, that's the name I was looking for, Robbie Mertz. There was a moment's silence there. Well, I searched for that. But here's the big moment. A Rose Arena, save number 1, up from Mushagalusa, save number 2. And that doesn't go in, and suddenly they're on chance not only winning the game, but keeping a clean sheet. You can see how pumped up not just the goalkeeper was, but all the defenders as well. Fantastic moment in the game for Raiko Rosarina.
And then it was just a matter of time before that second goal would come for Vegas. Pittsburgh were incredibly stretched, and Corey Bennett would double his tally.
Yeah, Gundo thought he had lost it there, kept on going, head up, sees Bennett, who'd lost his marker. He tucks it away so well, Corey Bennett, but poor defending again in terms of marking Bennett in the box, and they paid the price there, Pittsburgh Riverhounds.
Look at the full-time stats brought to you by US Bank, and for Pittsburgh, it's really telling. Their only 2 shots on target were the penalty and the ensuing rebound in tonight's showing.
Yeah, it just wasn't good enough. It really wasn't. I mean, their expected goals was slightly more than Las Vegas, but that's all down to the penalty. The penalty's a 0.8. You take that away, it was literally 0.2 from Pittsburgh for the rest of the match. They had 0.25 in the last match for the entire game against North Carolina. Yeah, tricky times, but Riverhounds fans, you've got 4 home matches. Get down to Highmark, support the team, and see if you can help them turn things around.
Now for Vegas, they're in good form right now. It's 6 unbeaten after tonight's victory. They go at Sacramento next. Speaking of Sacramento, you can flip over to Golazo Network, catch the last 10 minutes of Sacramento and Hartford, which is still currently scoreless. From broadcast partner Gary Bailey and the crew that makes this possible, I'm Joe Malva saying so long for now. It's Las Vegas winning it 2-0 over the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Good night, everybody.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.
Even this season, we talked.
Finds Bennett on the turn, goes for goal, took it to